You can hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah.
Okay, perfect. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for this interview. It's such an honor to speak to you. But before we start, I have to say I came prepared. So don't even try to make me cry because I tried for 6 years.
I'm sorry, first of all, but I'm not sorry.
No worries. So you're in the middle of your tour, live at City Winery. How is it going? Are you having fun?
I'm having so much fun. You know, when I had the opportunity to play the Opry and the ACMs and the Oscars, I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to sing. And now to be able to share my personal stories and my own songs with a new crowd every night is like so fulfilling. It's so beautiful. I'm like, oh my gosh, is this my life? I'm so grateful.
So are you singing all original songs or are you doing cover?
Yes. Most of them, there's only two that aren't original. And they're always like a little nice surprise. So I don't ever tell anybody what they are. But everything else is original.
Okay, and I think your next stop is Chicago in 11 days, right?
Yes, Chicago, Atlanta, and then Nashville.
So it's in the USA. Are you planning to maybe someday come to Europe? I know we would love that
I
here.
would love that. I've only been to Berlin in Europe,
Okay.
and I was married to an Englishman for many years. I never got to England. Like, there's so many places that I need to go, and people keep asking all the time on social media, like, "Are you coming? Are you
Yeah,
coming?"
yeah. Where
So
people
I'm
love.
hoping.
Okay, I
Yeah.
would love that. Yeah, personally, I listen to Actress and the soundtrack from Breakthrough, and I really love those songs. So it would be wonderful to see you singing live.
Thank you.
So like you said, you always wanted to be a singer, so it's cool that your dream is coming true.
Yeah.
And in addition to your tour, you also launch Joyful Heart wine company, and it's kind of surprising. Could you explain why you wanted to create, your own wine company?
Yeah. So I never really understood wine. I mean, I appreciated it, but I
Yeah.
never really understood the science and the hard work and all the particulars that go into making a really beautiful wine. And for me, I always brought bottles of wine to people's houses, especially on Sundays when we'd all get together. But it wasn't until I really got into the particulars that I was just so fascinated. And, the uncertainty with the grapes and the weather and the
Yeah.
sun, it's just incredible. And to have something come out of such uncertainty and hardship, I understood that, coming from a small town and aspiring, like I was like, oh, I get it. Um, and to have a mission and a statement behind the label and the brand, we decided to call it Joyful Heart because that's how I live. I want to live with a joyful heart to, you
Okay.
know, share a joyful heart with other people. And $1 of every bottle of the proceeds go to World Central Kitchen, which is very important as well for me, and giving back, and especially with World Central Kitchen, who they're literally on the front lines of every crisis, every food crisis, and they're actually on the border right now of Ukraine, and they've been there for quite some time feeding people. Um, so yeah, it was like a whole collective thing, and then to create a statement about living with a joyful heart and sharing that with people that you love. I was like, oh, I want to do this. This sounds really exciting. So
Are you doing it yourself with a winemaker?
I'm not the one. Sorry, my dog. I'm not the winemaker. Nicole Walsh is the winemaker, but we have tested and tested and tested all every single thing I could possibly have and drink. And um, yeah, so I don't make the wine, but I definitely was in the process of the blending
Okay.
and choosing what we wanted. Yeah.
And so people can purchase it on the tour and also online. Correct me if I'm wrong, joyfulearthwine.com.
Yes.
And there are three different wines.
Yes. There's an everyday red, everyday white, and then a reserve. They're all blends, and you can purchase them online. We're doing samplings at on all my the stops of the tour, and there's a QR code that you can just simply click on to order from the actual, show that I'm doing. But yeah, it's very easy to buy, and there are some rules and regulations as far as like what states can be delivered. So I always like people to know that, because some states don't allow a certain time and a certain amount of bottles, but you can go on the website and find out.
The audience must be fun if they can drink the wine during the concert.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Let's talk a bit about, of course, This Is Us. The show delivered, or I think you can say, a roller coaster of
Yeah.
emotions to the audience every Tuesday for 6 years. I mean, like I said, we almost cried at every episode. And I always wonder what it was like for you from the inside, because you had to actually live those emotions and see your co-star performance in life. So confess, how many times have you cried during the show?
Oh boy. A lot. I mean, probably once a day for sure, especially when it gets to the scenes where I get to watch all of the other actors and the cast members. It's just so emotional. And then it's really layered because we knew it was ending soon. And then also the way that it was ending and that we'd spend 6 years together. And so there's so much gratitude. So if I'm not crying about being sad, I'm crying about being happy. That's for sure.
And how are you feeling now that this whole journey is over?
Oh, I go in waves of just so like immense gratitude, but then also grief. Like I miss hanging out with everybody and bringing these beautiful stories and episodes to life. And then I'm like, oh, I don't have to wake up at 3 in the morning, but I would gladly wake up at 3 in the morning. When you do stuff that you love and it's creative, it's such a gift. So yeah, I'm definitely grieving. There are moments where I really genuinely miss it, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Well, I get to pursue other avenues, which is wonderful, but I do miss it.
Yeah, and you carried Kate's story on your back for such a long time. What was and what is your recovering process, if you have one? Because
Mm.
I mean, I'm asking this because 6 years telling the story of one character that just don't go away like that.
Yeah, I used to listen to a lot of music
Mm.
at the end of the day on the way home. Sometimes I would just cry all the way home and take a bath and just try to rinse, and wash the day away, because you can carry it with you. And sometimes you need to because you're not done with the episode and you have other scenes to shoot the next day. So I just try to tell myself, okay, this isn't real. This is not really happening, but how can we find healing through it? And so I really tried to do that. Like, okay, what's the lesson in this particular scene or this relationship? Or how can we have empathy for Toby, even though he's pissing me off, whatever. Like, I always try to sort of find some balance, but it's not always easy. It's a practice.
Yeah. And what's the best life lesson that you're keeping from This Is Us and that you
Mm.
probably carry during the rest of your life?
I guess the biggest life lesson is that you really got to suit up and show up.
Mhm.
Even if you think you're not ready for something. I mean, yes, you want to be prepared, but you want to take the opportunity and seize the moment, and know that sometimes if you sort of sit around and wait for you to feel like you're ready, you might not ever get there. So sometimes you learn on your feet and you learn in the moment, and that is so much more um helpful and also rewarding, because you're like, oh, okay, like I'm doing something that I can like confidently say, okay, I got through this. And so the next time you do it, you're better at it. Um, yeah. So I don't know. It's something for me that I'm still learning, but it's always helped me that like, okay, Chrissy, just even if you think you're not good enough or that you're not prepared, just suit up and show up and see what happens
Yeah.
and be vulnerable.
Yeah, yeah. And your fans are asking quite a lot. What's coming next for you? And the show just ended.
Yeah.
And what's coming next for you is the movie that you filmed this summer, and
Hmm.
also a book, a book for kids,
Yeah.
mm, February 23.
Yes.
Where the idea of writing a book came from?
Yeah. So Bradley, my boyfriend, and I, during COVID, we sort of just, you get to really know each other because there's not much to do. And
Mhm.
we were talking about how important it is to have a connection to a higher power and to, um, I think prayer has such a negative connotation. People think like you have to be, a Christian. And I think that prayer is just a collective, concentrated thought of positivity. And so then we were talking about like our childhood and what things we wish we would have experienced and how we would have been treated. And then we also were talking a bunch about how so many people want children in their lives, whether it's biological or fostering or adopting, and how children are really the future. And it's essential to create this beautiful, loving, empowering foundation for them. So it was really just a culmination of all those thoughts. And I was like, let's write a children's book. And I wanted to for a very long time. So
And it will be released on February. Do you know the exact date yet?
I think it's around Valentine's Day.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's such a
Yeah.
great gift.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so, I have one last question, but not least. You're a singer, so you know quite well how music can speak to our soul and heal, and are sometimes a reflection of what we're going through. So, which song describes you and your journey the most? So, I don't know, keep you strong every time.
Wow. A personal song or just any song?
Any song.
Oh, wow. Um, hmm, that's a good one. It really changes because I change on
Yeah.
a daily basis. I'm like, oh, I feel this way, I feel that way. I want to feel, like I want to grieve or I want to celebrate or I want to experience joy. But um, it's so hard to say. I mean, man, I should look at what my playlist is. Because I definitely have one that I get on a kick of one song and then I end up listening to it forever. Um, Eva Cassidy's version of Fields of Gold
Mhm.
is a song that I listen to probably every single day. Um, and then just she was such an incredible vocalist and artist, and it I don't know, I just love it. It makes me feel very nostalgic, but also introspective, and one of my favorite songs. So